So several days later, I decided to go and finish cleaning the trunk, and that's as best as I can do for the trunk. There is some surface rust over there in the corner. I am going to kind of run some sandpaper on it. It's just surface rust, and throw some primer, white primer on it. That should be good to go. I did clean the channels on this trunk area. She was sitting outside, and she's going to continue to sit outside until I can get the EVO in between the GTR and the STI. I was able to fit 3 FDs between this pole and the wall prior, so the fact that the EVO is much narrower than the FD, I should be able to have no problems. So also, I'm going to try to see if I can maybe take the STI wheels and use it temporarily on the STI. I did get the hub-centric, where did I put that? Anyway, I got the hub-centric rings because of the fact that this set of wheels needed for the EVO for me to be able to run it. So that's, I don't know. But anyway, so the only thing I really need to do on this car, because I really can't do much, so I'm just gonna run some compound here and some polish and wax. I mean, you guys can see that she needs a little bit of help. Now, I can't really do much because aesthetically she really isn't up to par. You guys can see the hood. So I'm just gonna do what I can, just so that she doesn't really look like she's clapped out. I may get the roof wrapped, just so that, again, it's just that way she doesn't look so badly on the outside. I've already gone ahead and kind of cleaned out that rust. As you guys can see, I mean, it's not the best of job. It's just something just to cover it up, just that way the rust doesn't continue to spread and get deeper. Did some spots as far as missing paint. Did some touch-ups, I should say. So that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm going to daily it, and you know, after doing the bumper, because I got to do it in phases, what I will do next, and I don't know if I've mentioned it in my last post, is that I have to do the alternator, and I'll explain that in just a bit. Let me get this thing done. I don't have much sun left, and I guess in a split second, if I'm going to include it in this video, you'll get the explanation as to why I'm doing the alternator. So it's the following morning. Just kind of want to show you guys real quickly the work that I had done last night. If you guys can kind of tell, it's a bit better. And this is the kind of finish that I was working with last night, and how the paint is overall on the car, and that is the end result for what I did last night. It's not too bad, although there is a part here that I really couldn't get out because it's already deep into paint, and not much I can do, but at least she doesn't look too bad and doesn't look all grimy. You can kind of tell the difference. So anyway, but the task at hand today is going to be a little bit more difficult. I had already gone to the auto parts store this morning to grab the alternator that I'm going to need for the Mitsubishi. I don't have much time. I'm going to try to get this thing done by noon. It's 8 o'clock in the morning now. I have somewhere to go. I gotta bring my daughter to her college campus because she's gonna be looking at off-campus housing. So I want to get that done today, early enough so that we have some time to kind of cover the area. But okay, so let's get started. the car in the garage. I'm just gonna kind of detail here what I am planning on doing for the sake of time. So the plan is to get the cars up, at least get the front end up, and once I get the front end up, take the passenger wheel off. That way I have access to the tensioner so that I can go ahead and remove the belts. Tensioner is basically, I think it's a 1/2 inch ratchet, and basically you just kind of turn it just so that you can loosen the belts. I'll try and get a picture of that for you while I'm down there. Also, the strut tower bar needs to be moved. This, I believe this is power steering. Looks to be. So gonna remove this bolt here, get this out of the way so I can get some clearance here. Just kind of wish that I had done the ABS delete prior to the alternator going out, but that's just my luck. Some calls for the axle to be removed to get access for the alternator to be moved out of the way, and some calls for the intake manifold. But I think what I'm going to do, and I've seen this somewhere on the channel, that what somebody had done is just remove the motor mount and just shifted the motor out of the way. I just don't know quite what that means, but I may have to look into that video further to see what he meant by moving it out of the way. I'm gonna guess just kind of lifting it a bit using this. I do have my cherry picker, so I am going to be using that. And I believe just for clearance, you got to remove, well, I don't know if you have to, but the fuel pressure regulator. So if I can get this done in the next 3 to 4 hours, I would be really happy. So at this point, I'm just gonna get going, get this thing done, and whatever I feel that is good to capture and post, I will try and do that, just so that you guys have a clear understanding as to what the job is about and what it takes to get the alternator exchanged. Okay, I got the wheel out. Don't forget, guys, which I didn't mention, you got to disconnect the battery because you are doing electrical work. Just a good idea just to kind of disconnect that. And here's an idea. Strongly recommend, because I usually do this a great deal. Whatever tools you end up working on, using for the car or for the job, keep it in one area. Most often I waste my time looking for tools because I've either have it in different portions of the garage, or I walked over to get something, dropped it off on top of the tool case, tool chest, and not realize that it's there, thinking that it's around the car. I'm spending just too much time looking for tools that I've already used or need. So just keep it in one area. Just make it a habit of just, as soon as you're done with the tool and on to the next, just put it in one area. So I started with the screwdriver in that corner, just so that that's going to be my location to drop off things. So like I said, disconnect the battery, and let me just show you real quickly the what I was talking about earlier. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this right here that accepts 1/2 inch wrench. This is where you release the tension for the belts. So hopefully I'm getting that. Let me see if I can just get closer. Oh, by the way, you also got to remove this. I just kind of just pulled it down. Right now in this car, everything's zip tied. I guess the previous owner has lost some clips, and basically it's just clips that you gotta remove. So anyway, on to the job. So I got the strut tower out, the belt out. That was a little tricky, of course. I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but anyway, that's all right. The battery's disconnected. Removed this mount for the power steering. I'm pretty sure it's power steering. A hose, and look what I noticed. I guess this is a good segue to me kind of like letting you know that you guys should, prior to removing the belt, create your own diagram, just so that you're not kind of trying to figure it out later. But the previous owner did it on the expansion tank. I'm gonna have to wipe that out clean. But anyway, remove the connector and the power for the alternator. I got the top bolt off. The bottom part was a little tricky because it's got a lot of mileage on this car, so I'm gonna guess that a lot of moisture kind of got to the bottom bolt, and it was pretty tricky. It required a lot of strength. It was better for me to get it from the bottom and push up rather than taking it up top, you know, doing a curl versus a push-up. So my strength is more on my push rather than my pull. So I went underneath, and plus, you know, there's a lot of sharp things here. So when you're pulling and it jerks, you might just get caught in these sharp points. There's some zip ties here that has the sharp ends, and you know, you don't want to get gashed. So I just went from underneath. I got dirty, but that's all right. That's better than an open gash on your forearm. So next is I am going to remove this bolt for the motor mount, hook up the cherry picker on here, and maybe lift her up just to kind of give her some clearance, just so that you guys can kind of get an understanding of what the size is that I'm dealing with and the space constraints. This is the new alternator, and it's pretty heavy, so I gotta somehow maneuver this piece here. So I gotta, before I do anything, I gotta figure out exactly what that guy did when he removed that motor mount, if he just lifted it or lifted it and shift. What I did was I jacked up the other side also, because I'm not quite sure what the dependencies are when moving the motor that way. I just didn't want to, you know, pull on something too hard and disconnect or bend or damage something. So I don't know enough about this car to just kind of just wing it. All right, guys, so here's the situation. That whole thing where you just move the motor up to get some clearance, it's full of crap. So what I ended up doing is getting rid of the top bracket for the alternator. And as you can see, I have the cherry picker on the bracket to lift the motor up, which I have done. You guys can see that. She's up about maybe a few inches. So where is my flashlight? Let me get you some light underneath there. So this is where it comes in, where now I'm going to be looking for something that I just used but misplaced it. So oh, here it goes. So you guys can see how the alternator right now is sitting in there. So I put some rags underneath there because I did not want to get, whoops, I guess it's not, I misplaced it. It's really to just prevent from the boot from getting damaged with the heavy alternator kind of resting on it. I didn't want to get it cut and then have to worry about replacing the boot and or axle. It's full of crap. There is no room. I don't know how these guys did it, and most likely because the ones that I've seen did not have AC. So I don't know if they were RS models or what, but you see this is actually kind of getting in the way. Oh, one other thing too, now that I banged into it, the fact that I have the stock hood prop really is not helping me much, because it's always in the way. So I think the next thing to order is the is the pneumatics. So yeah, for those of you that have it, this is going to be an easier test because this is not in the way for you. So anyway, so what I've done already is, oh, by the way, so the bracket, the top mount bracket for the alternator was kind of sticking out like up to here, so it wasn't really giving me that much room, so I had to remove that. And so the next thing I'm going to try to do is, I've actually removed the top bolt off of the ABS. I really wish I was able to remove this prior to the alternator going, because this would really give me some room. So, and there's 2 bolts underneath. Let me bring the camera all the way down there, and you guys will probably see. Let me move the lighting there too. So I've already got the wrench in there. So actually the socket in there. So there's going to be 2 bolts on this ABS bracket. One is where the socket is, and the other one is to the other side of it. So I don't know if I'm capturing that, but anyway, so I'm going to try to remove that and maybe push this back a little bit. And I'm kind of a little concerned, but I shouldn't be, because I am removing this anyway. But I just didn't want any leaks and having the closed system now open because of it. So so I'm going to see if I can kind of snake my way out of that area. If I can push this aside and get that last nut or bolt. I'm pretty sure it's a bolt, because on the other side it was a bolt. The top one is a nut. If I can move this, set aside just a bit, maybe gain like an inch or half an inch even, I should be able to clear it. I've already removed the FPR, fuel pulsation dampener, or FPD. That's not, well, is it a dampener or regulator? But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to give it a shot, and my next step is to remove that last bolt and see if I can, like I said, wiggle this ABS system out of the way and get the clearance that I need. So I want to keep the AC. Nope. For those of you that's probably going to comment, get rid of your AC. No, this is going to be daily. I'd like for it to be available. And I'd like to take long trips, and if I am ever gonna hit the southern states, I'd like to have AC. Anyway, so okay, let me give this a shot. Wish me luck. Okay, so honestly, I don't even know what I've covered yet so far. So as you can tell, let me get some light. As you can tell, the alternator is just kind of stuck there in between, and you can kind of see the spacing that's required. So if the ABS wasn't there, I'd be all good. And also if I didn't have AC, I would be all good as well. So, and then the power steering cable, what I did was I zip tied it as close as I can to the short block. That way it'll clear, because most often than not, it would get in the way of me trying to, every time I try to bring the alternator up. I've been at this for quite a while now, probably over an hour. And it would just kind of fall right in the middle of the space of where I need the alternator to go through. So, and the other thing that I did to clear the space underneath the ABS module is that harness that plugs into it. So that was in the way. That gave me some clearance. That gave me at least 3/4 of an inch, because it was, like I said, if it was actually clipped or zip tied onto the bottom of this module. So to remove that, basically, you see that middle portion right there, just put a screwdriver on there, push it to your left towards the passenger side, and you'll hear a click. And once you do, at that point, what I did was on the edge of the actual connector, on the plastic part, that on the top part of this piece, let me just, so let me just quickly show you. So, well, anyway, so just basically what you do is you put the flat head on it, and then just twist, and what it'll do is it'll help push that connector out, because you you can't pull it with your hand because you're gonna end up, for those of you that wants to keep the ABS, literally I just want to just cut the damn thing. But you'd end up probably messing up the connector because those wires look to be fragile. So anyway, I think I'm getting there, but honestly, once I clear this area, I don't know if it's gonna clear this. Unless I go up top here and maybe remove this guy. I don't know, we'll see. Oh boy, I started at 7:30 this morning. It's now 2 o'clock and I just got the alternator out. And to get the new one in, less than a minute. So, I mean, as far as getting it into the area where I need to start bolting things back up. So anyway, I am just so glad. Hopefully, you know, I get rid of those idiot lights in the dashboard. Oh, by the way, that's one thing I don't think I covered. It's basically the battery, idiot light, and to the right of it is the brake. If those things are on and or flashing, that means that your system is not charging, and it's supposed to be the alternator. So she's been starting okay. So and you know, the battery's been. I put the V meter on, and the battery voltage is fine. So I didn't want to get stranded, so I just went ahead and started to do the alternator ahead of the ABS delete, because the ABS delete is $600. So I'm gonna wait on that one. Okay, so it's 5 p.m. Got pretty much everything buttoned down. All I need to do is put the strut bar on and the wheel. Looks like everything is where it should be. Everything is torqued properly. I just need to clean just a little bit. And one of the good things that came out of this is I found the reason why the car is rattling on idle. And if I can get underneath real quickly, I can show you why. It is, if I can just crawl. Where is it? I think it's switch hands. It's this guy right here. So it's been rattling. I'm gonna kind of remove that. I think it was holding on the shield, and yeah, so I'm gonna remove that, and hopefully maybe down the road afford an exhaust. Okay, I guess we're gonna start her up and see if the idiot lights are still on. Oh, okay. Get it out of gear. And start her up. If I can find the key. Bingo. So if I were to take off the brake, e-brake, all good. So now I'm going to go for a test drive just to make sure everything's hunky-dory, and we should be good to go. I'm going to go and go to the auto parts store and get some more pads so that I can do the trunk tonight. Basically clay it, run a compound, polish it, and put some wax on it. So I'm doing it piece by piece, but yeah, all good. I am so relieved. That was a pain in my rear. I've never had to do alternator work where you had to go through all that. I spent the full day